Good morning.
Should be streaming now, Cam. Are you seeing it?
I believe so.
Are we live? We are live. Did you press live?
I did not know.
It's already live. We're showing. It's in my monitor. Let me put a let me put up music as people are coming in. Okay, and we are live, everybody, in Exponential Traction. How are you guys doing? Because just like that, the month of January is almost over in a couple of days. First month of the year gone. How are you, people? Everyone is joining us live. How are you guys? Let us know in the comments box. Okay, wherever you may be watching this from, which part of the world, which part of the country, and whatever medium it may be. This is being streamed live over in my channels, in Cameron's, in JL's, in Annie's, and I think in Jerica's as well. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever the case may be for you. My name is Mac Comandante. I'm an international trainer and coach. And over the past 5 years alone, I have coached and trained over 20,000 entrepreneurs, helping them remove constraints towards exponential growth. Okay, our participants, they were able to grow their sales and their revenue by as much as 30 to 300%. Okay, if you're interested with any of that, type interested in the comments box. Okay, let me bounce this off to Cameron. Cameron?
Hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone. Super excited to have you here now that we're nearing, as Mac mentioned, the end of the first month of 2022. So hopefully you guys have been making some big moves, been making some big progress towards your goals that you guys set out for yourselves in 2022. And the big thing is to make sure that you guys keep moving forward. And that's what we're here for you guys every single week to help make sure you guys keep making progress. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cameron Arsenault, the founder of the Operation Freedom community and creator of the Freedom System, where our goal is really simple. Our goal is to help coaches launch their programs and have the freedom to travel the world. So that's kind of what we're here to help you guys do. We're here to bring exciting another episode with you guys today, talking about how to help you guys be able to grow and expand your business. So excited to have you guys here. I'll pass you over to Mr. JL. Say a few welcoming words.
Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Jad Castro. Just give me a thumbs up if you guys are hearing me. Okay, all right, good, thank you. And I'm a traditional animator and also painter sculptor. And right now, I'm working on the pre-production stage of my first animated feature film, hopefully to show by November, and also web series. And good morning, everybody, and glad to be here.
Okay, excellent. Very excited for today. Cameron, I'm not sure if we're able to capture the or catch the title for today's episode. Okay, because it just went live, right? I know that you were still fixing us with technology, everybody. I'd like to greet Annie as well. Annie, hi Annie. Hello from Australia. Annie just popped up here in my page. Okay, and hopefully you can come over here, Annie, in a little while once you're fully settled. Okay, and today, team, it's a Friday, and when it is Friday, Friday is all about marketing, specifically on organic Facebook marketing. Okay, and I'm gonna start off with it. This is what I've come to realize. We've been more aggressive in our marketing, Cameron, and probably in this episode, it would be great if I can also pick your brains in relation on how we can do this better. We've been doing SMS marketing, we've been doing email marketing, also paid Facebook ads. And this is what I noticed. The conversion rates seems to be much lower. Okay? And it's not only happening here. We've been talking with our joint venture partners in India. They are also experiencing the same. And guess what? They even transitioned their strategy from paid ads to now doing organic marketing. Okay? What I also noticed is that a lot of a lot of customers today, they don't seem to be converted anymore if you send them to a reluctant way of selling, meaning to say if it is not live, it's a pre-recorded video or somewhat like that. Okay, it seems like they like it if they are in an event like this where they can actually interact, they can ask questions. So I'd like to know what you guys think about it. And um, let me bounce this off to you. What is it that you would like us to talk about today? Okay, as we handle some of the limiting beliefs around marketing, around organic marketing, more specifically. Okay, Cam.
No, that's awesome. And yeah, that's definitely a big thing that we've kind of been seeing across the board is in terms of looking at, we're in kind of the attention economy now, right? Where we are at a place where it's never been easier, right? In terms of the technology, what we're able to do right now, just being here live with you guys across multiple channels, is absolutely amazing when you really think about the technology that we have and how we're able to connect with people from around the world. So we've never been in a better time to be able to actually get our message and get our business and what we're doing out in front of people. But with that, it's a double-edged sword where right now it's never been easier to get out in front of people, but it's also never been harder to get people's attention.
Hmm.
So, some of the studies that have been done just around people's attention span, right? I know Microsoft did a study not too long ago looking at the decline in people's attention span over the past 15 years, right? And it declined by is around 33% from 12 seconds back in 2000
Hmm.
down to, I think it was 8.3 seconds, which was measured at in, I believe that was 2015 when they completed that study. And just shows that, how much shorter people's attention span are getting as we're being now bombarded with all of these different kinds of mediums, all these different kinds of places where people can get in front of you and, interrupt your day. So their attention spans are getting shorter. So how is it that we can stand out? How is it that we can get people to switch on to what we're saying? So I know one of the things that I would love to cover a little bit today is really based around what I think is one of the really powerful ways of, again, getting people's attention, building people's trust, because that's one of the biggest things. So we look at, so you mentioned, Mac, where people have had a steady decline in terms of the paid ads. People are transitioning over to taking a more kind of organic marketing type approach. Is one of the big things is looking at how can you build trust with your audience, because you need to get that trust piece before you're going to pay attention and really dive in to what you do. Now, I know one of the things that a lot of people, and guys, let me know in the comments, like what are some ways, right, that you guys can think of? Let us know in the comments, what are some ways that you can help your clients or your prospects build trust with you? Right? What are some of the things you can do? What are some of the things you can say? What are some of the things you can show them that's going to help them trust you, right? Which consequently is going to get them to pay attention to what you are doing.
Very nice. And you know what? Annie's also asking here in the chat. Okay. And I think this should be a good starting point. Can you please explain, Cam, what is organic marketing? Maybe we can start off with that distinction. Okay, so that
Mhm.
we would be in the same page because everyone may have different definitions to this. What is organic marketing?
Yeah. And so I see organic marketing as really the main thing is you are obviously organic being, right? You're not paying for exposure. You're going on, right? In terms of organic marketing now, the way you get in front of people is you're going on these platforms like a Facebook, like an Instagram, like a YouTube, right? These platforms where there is a lot of people already, congregated. And what we're doing is we're producing content, right? It's really one of the main strategies around producing great content that engages your audience and being able to build the relationship through, connecting and yeah, connecting on those different platforms. So that's what I would say is the big thing. It's really based around creating connections with your audience, right? Just by posting, being present, being active, and engaging on the existing platforms and using things like the algorithms, using things like your content to get in front of new people and start building those relationships.
Nice. Thank you. Excellent. So, yeah, and I think it has really been crazy. With regard to the attention span, did you know that TikTok even suggests that you put out content only between 15 to 20 seconds?
Yeah.
Right? So that's why on the spot, the moment you open your mouth, you better be adding value and building trust immediately. And I think the expectations are also higher when we go online because people just tend to scroll if you're not able to capture their attention. So if you're not adding value to begin with, you're just gonna pass by, and the algorithm is gonna read that in such a way that your content is not valuable. So they're not gonna be putting that up in other people's feeds moving forward, right?
Hmm.
So what is
Yeah.
the limiting belief that we're working on today, Cam?
Yeah. So what we want to talk about today, and you're absolutely right, Mac, where some of if you're not providing value, if you're not really engaging your audience, right? I think some of the stats I remember seeing just personally is that, for example, like on a platform like Facebook, where we are, I think 98% of folks are using Facebook on their mobile.
Mm,
And on average, people are spending around 1.7, I believe, seconds on your post.
mm.
Right? So all they're doing is spending 1.7 seconds.
Okay, we lost you there for a moment. Okay, let me go to jail, bro. What do you think? What's landing on you right now?
Yeah, actually, I tend to agree with a certain caveat. Now, for me, I look at it as we are kind of going back into olden times, so to speak. Like in the Philippines, like I think more than 15 years ago, we were bombarded by commercials, especially on the streets.
Mm,
When you're going on the highway and there are so many billboards that are catching your attention. This was also the same complaint during the 1980s, where the word is we're being bombarded for our attention for the commercials. Now it's just shifting in platforms. Now it's just in front of our face, in the computer screens, on our laptops, on our phones. So my thinking is the 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 restrictions from the iOS 14 update
yeah,
for Facebook ads, it just made a cripple hammer, a cripple hammer, but the principles of marketing is still the same.
mm,
Then in which the phrase that's coming up to me is just build your fandom. And there's still a place for Facebook ads, TikTok ads, and all that, where it can stick. It can put you in front of people more, in a faster time, and your organic marketing will grow from there. That's
mm,
my take on it.
right. Yeah, but in this case, we're talking about organic marketing, so it's not gonna be
Yeah,
about any paid ads, right?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, and
But everything has its place, though,
mm, mm,
because even though there's a lack of function in one, there it still has its place, and it can help with the. I think the majority of the activity really
yeah.
should be in organic marketing as well.
So hey, listen to this. I've been studying the algorithms, right? Going
Yeah.
deep into this, and team, everyone is watching right now. If I'm getting this wrong, let me know, okay? But this is my understanding. Say for example, if you put out a post about business, okay, and not a lot of people actually like it, so they just ignore it, they just pass through the post, and so on. And then your next post is a personal post, and people keep on telling me, Mac, you gotta put something that's personal out there, okay? Because people need to see you as a human being, something like that, okay? And what I noticed is that people start to like it. Okay. Now, the algorithm before is that that's okay because the next time you're going to post a business post, they would still be able to see that in their feeds just because they like your personal post. But today, in the current algorithm, it's not anymore that way because with AI, Facebook is actually going to demote that post or a similar post that people are not actually liking. So,
Mhm.
and we've been noticing this in platforms like TikTok and even in Instagram that people are having a difficult time understanding it, that why is it that there is a certain post that one day just gets a million views. Okay, the following day you make a post, it seems like no one's watching. They're not seeing it. So, my understanding with this is that it's because again the algorithm has changed. So, if especially for entrepreneurs and business owners, if you're not able to figure that out where people are actually liking because your business posts are actually adding value. And to your point, JL, there's a place for everything, right? And what does that mean? It means that in my take on that is that it's supposed to land to the right people, to your niche, the people that are looking for you because they have a problem and they're looking for a solution, and it happens that you have the solution for them. If there is that match, then a sale is going to happen. But if there's a mismatch, they would just scroll away, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, what do you think about that?
Actually, we share the same opinion, really. And it goes back to what I said earlier. It's building your fandom.
Mm,
And it really goes into three stages. It's really test, feedback, and reiterate.
mm,
That's my approach to it. So when I do something out there, so it could be like what you said, a post or a series of posts, and you
mm,
see what is working, what's getting people's attention. And that's where we go into the feedback stage where you ask, why do they like it so much?
mm,
Why do they like that particular post? And you already have the feedback
mm,
wherein people want to see you as a human being, not just as a businessman, because it might filter, yeah, you could take psychology into it, where you're asking, why do people want to see me as a human being,
mm,
more than just a businessman?
mm.
And then that's where you test other things out. And then you go rinse and repeat. And here's Annie.
Hey, Annie. And the other insight probably there, bro, would be is that again, people buy you because it's you. Okay, and I
Yes.
think a lot of entrepreneurs get this wrong that they try to focus so much on the product, on the service, without really being able to build trust. So I think that's the reason why personal posts from an organic perspective is getting more traction because they get to see you,
Yeah.
right?
And actually, a great example for this is Annie's videos, because she does those dance videos, and usually the dance videos are the ones that go viral.
Mm. So I want to ask you, what's a limiting belief for you, especially for artists? Okay, I
Yeah.
noticed that not all artists actually are advertising themselves. Okay, what's the limiting belief there?
One of several. So one of them is being too shy in front of the camera. And
Mm,
what am I going to say? I'd rather show my work and let it speak for itself.
mm,
And some of the more serious ones is, yeah, afraid of what other people would say, because artists are more of sensitive bunch. So we take criticism a little bit harder, and even criticism from other artists, because a lot of artists are really great, but a lot of others are also very competitive. And there's a culture of the bashing. Maybe it is also common in other industries, but those are some of the several ones.
yeah, I guess the challenge also with art is that it's very subjective, right? And so
Yeah.
therefore, on one hand, you can, yeah, there's a point where what if I get criticized? It may not be good enough versus the people that you look up to or with amongst your peers, but that doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, it's about your customers, right? So good. Before we go deeper into this, let me pass this on to Annie, and I think Cameron is also back. Annie, how are you? How are things there in Australia?
Things are good. It's extremely, the weather is crazy today. It's super hot, but there's a massive storm coming. So, yeah. Anyway, hi everyone. It's Annie Callis from Melbourne, Australia. I'm a relationships architect and I work with people on their limiting beliefs as individuals or as a couple. So, a lot of challenges that happen in life, it's got to do with our relationships. So that's the angle that I come from. And I really, really, really love this subject. So even though I had to run out, I was walking around the street with the live feed and I don't want to miss a word. And when I got in my car, it went to my speaker and I'm going, I can't hear, hurry up, connect, because I don't want to miss a word, because this is a subject that's very dear to my heart. Because and this is a limiting belief that is coming up for me. So I'm one of these people I work on emotion. So I sense things even when I coach, I sense so many things from my clients. So I go with the flow, and I can tell you my intuition has never, ever let me down. So even if I sense something from my clients, I say, I'm sensing this, am I close? And they go, how do you know? So what happens when I create content, organic content, which I have been doing, I think, since 2009, every time I feel something and I go, oh my goodness, I need to share something with the world, I just get there. So there's no like, I have a system of what I'm going to say. Most of the things that I talk about are about limiting beliefs and mindset and relationships, but I don't have a structure. So that does my head in, because my following, they like what I do because they already know. For years and years I've been talking about the same thing. Mindset about an experience and what's the outcome, experience and outcome. And I usually actually talk about my experience. Now, sometimes I hear, and you guys can tell me whether this is correct or not, is that it should never be about you. It should be about creating it in a way that it's about them and that they relate. Don't make it about you. However, I feel like I'm the one that's in the emotion. And when I talk with emotion, not thought. I talk with emotion. And I believe that's why it lands with people. So what is your take on that? How you know, like, you got to create and you got to this and you got to be like this and it's got to be structured and it's going to look like this. So it looks really pretty. Like when I look at my Instagram, if you scroll, there is no system there. So does it need to be a system just so it's pretty visually, or just keep doing what you're doing, what people are used to? Because I know when I do videos, people actually watch them after when they come home from work. And then I start getting, so a lot of people watch the replay. So is there a rule of thumb, especially with this new organic marketing that is becoming more, I don't know what the word I want to use, maybe you can fill it in. It's effective. It's more effective organic marketing than to keep doing ads.
Good.
So what's your take on what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. I think Cameron is back. Cam, are you back?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I can't have the camera on because I had to move closer to the internet, the router. That's what I was looking for. So hopefully we have a little bit more of a stable connection. Unfortunately, not good lighting here, so you wouldn't be able to see me anyway. But in terms of looking at what's the most effective way, there's, and I think we talked a little bit about this last week, Mac, right? About, the algorithm, and like you can go really in depth with, all of these different tools and stats and research and what people have found. The biggest thing that I think, and I think you're totally heading in the right direction with this, Annie, is like looking at really focusing first on people's emotion, right? We all like to think that we're logical creatures, right? We all would like to think that we can rationalize things and do it that way. But ultimately what happens and how people react or respond or engage with things is first they engage emotionally.
I think
We
Cam-
lost him again.
I think we lost
I
him
think it
again.
got muffled.
I believe to go about and really to look at, is it breaking up a little bit there?
Yeah, and it's weird that we don't see you because there's no video going through the feed in Facebook.
Yeah, no, it's just like I think I can turn it on, but it's very low light that we got going on here.
That's okay. That's better than nothing.
It's really great. It's great mood
The
lighting.
romantic mood. Yeah,
Exactly.
romantic
It's
mood.
great mood lighting. Not the greatest video lighting, although I think I have the problem solved for next week. I found a spot that I believe will be a good spot for having both of those things, both close to the internet connection and good lighting. So stay tuned with that one next week. But yeah, essentially the big thing, right, is just looking at really kind of guiding people with the emotion. Because ultimately, even though we all, if you ask anybody, right, most people will say that they're logical in what they do and things they buy and who they choose to spend the time with, but ultimately it comes down to the emotions. So by leading with that, I think is really important. And the second point I know that we talked about, Mac, right, is for the algorithms. That's a rabbit hole that people can get lost in for sure. I think the biggest thing, while those things are important, right, we can always, for example, one of the simplest things is usually when there's a new tool that comes out on a certain platform, whether, for example, I know that the reels on Instagram and the shorts on YouTube, algorithm is pushing those higher in people's feeds because they want people to adopt those as a new tool. So it's always smart to be on top of some of the general things like that. But I think don't get lost too far down the rabbit hole and really focus on really just being consistent on the platform. I think is far and above the most important thing, rather than trying to dive down and getting that one little tweak or that one little algorithm hack, right? There really isn't no hack. It's just about being consistent on the platforms. And that is the most important thing, I believe, when it looks at how you can be successful when it comes to organic marketing.
Nice, thank you. Yeah, yes, Annie, go ahead.
So I feel like I'm in a coaching class right now because this is really triggering me today. So, but I'm sure I'm not alone, and I'm sure that there's other people out there. So I would love to ask a question if it's okay with everyone. Okay, so it's something that I don't want to say I struggle, but I'm trying to figure out how to use it. So as JL said before, I do a lot of dance videos. So when I was young, when I was 10 years old, I went to School of Arts in my country, in Romania, and I was going to be a prima ballerina. So that's my first passion in life. And then over the years, that kind of got put to the side. And last year, I reconnected to my passion. So I feel so vibrant and alive when I dance, and I get into my feelings and I get into everything, and I feel music. So that's one side. The other side, I'm a relationships architect. So I actually deal with pain. I deal with the pain of people because it's relationships are hard. There's a lot of hurt, resentment, anger, so forth, so forth. So what I do is I help them overcome all of that and reconnect and have better relationships. So now my whole thing is I'm on this every day, I just want to dance. So I'm trying to figure out how can I combine the two in a way that people start actually looking at it. Now, one thing is that I can write like a blurb, so people watch the dancing and write the blurb, but the dancing, right? Because it's happy, because it's like, I'm joyous. And I find men to do duets with from TikTok, and it's really cool, and the dynamic is really great and all that. But then my limiting belief, it comes up, are these two congruent? And I don't know where I saw a guy who is a dentist, but he's really known for being a what do you call it? A skateboarder. He's a skateboarder, so he skateboards everywhere in New York, right? So even his website is built up with him skateboarding all over the place, and then he talks, and then he shares something, and blah blah blah, and it's gone viral. So I'm going now, how can I combine my passion for music and dance with what I do? So I attract people. I want to be known kind of like the dancing relationships coach, because dancing is actually another way to communicate. And it's a big thing in relationships where one doesn't dance and the other one does. And there's always a debate. And I can say that for many of my relationships and many women that I know, that their partners never dance with them, whereas that's a closeness. So how can I bring that in? So JL is going, me. So that's a question. Does it make sense?
Yeah, go ahead, JL.
Can I make a suggestion? Like, how about interpretive dance? Interpretive dance for whatever that you're teaching. So if it's about pain, you dance something that communicates pain. Because me and Mac, we have a common friend, Mela. She's also a ballerina, but she had an injury. But she still did some interpretive dance sometimes for some presentations. So communicates happiness, pain, love, romanticism, and all that. So I'm thinking it as combined with the blurb, there's the dance, and then there's the interpretation. Well, what do you think of that?
Okay, it's a great point. Thank you for that, and I'll think about it next time. But I'm not an interpretive dancer. I dance my style. So I don't want to be something else, because then that is going to bring another limiting belief. Or am I doing this okay? So I got to do it with what's coming. I mean,
Yeah.
when I'm upset, everybody knows, because I get the phone calls and I get the messages. Annie, are you okay? Oh, I had a moment in public. So I'm not shy to show my anger or my sadness or my happiness. But when I dance, it's even with the dance, I can be slow or I can be fast or I can be nuts. So, but I will think about that and I'll see how I go. I just don't want to create any more limiting beliefs for myself. I just want to be able to go with the flow, because I think that's what people are attracted to when they see how real you are. And I've always been real. I mean, look, I'm standing here with absolutely no makeup on and my hair is not brushed and I'm wearing a t-shirt. So I don't care, because what I care about is what comes out of my mouth, right?
Can I give it a try before I turn this over to our resident expert, to Cameron? Okay.
For brother.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna go into prescription mode, Annie. Well, you know me, I'm all about systems. I'd like to monitor the results. I need to see what's working. Okay, and that is just my approach in everything that I put out there. My method for understanding whether was that effective is when I get people to do the call to action. Whether that call to action is for them to join a group, to subscribe to an email list, download something, or is it about enrolling to one of our programs, courses, or do one-to-one work with me? So I'm very conscious about that. And so, meaning to say, for me, it is not just about gaining as many followers, but rather, even if there are only 10 people who's watching, how many of those 10 are actually getting converted towards the call to action? For me, that is what is more important. Now, whether you're doing dancing or whatever it is for you, if it is able to reach your audience that you desire and you're able to convert them into paying clients, then why not? Okay, because at the end of the day, for me, okay, my barometer there is that, am I able to convert them? Because even if there are 100,000 people in the room watching, but no one is buying, I would still end up wasting my time, energy, effort, and money. So that is why the distinction I'd like to add on here would be, in doing organic marketing, does that actually help you reach your target niche? Okay, so that's my take on that. I hope that has been helpful. Cameron, are you with us? Or did you freeze? Okay, we lost him. Okay, Annie, what do you think?
Yeah, that is really great. And actually now what landed for me is that I can still do my videos. It's what I do. I believe it's what I say in a blurb, because in the videos I don't talk. When I talk, then I talk. I don't dance, right? But it's important what I put in the blurb, because some people watch the blurb, they watch the video or whatever. They know that I always say something. And I have to have some kind of call to action every single time. Either it's click like, share, join, get my ebook, or whatever it is. So I think that's a thing that I need to start practicing, to always have some kind of call to action so they interact with me. So that's the big even though, like when you know something, like I know this, but then there's a moment when it really lands. So it becomes consciousness, no more in there, it's here. So I appreciate that. That was really good. And you know me, I also like systems, but like I use both sides of my brain all the time. I like the being organized, but I also like being creative. So sometimes they are a little bit at war until I figure out the middle ground, right?
Nice.
So this is really great, because I need to make a note somewhere and say call to action, call to action, call to action. And actually that's a good tip, is that you want to remember something. And I've done this like for the last 12 years. If there's something very specific that I want to remember, I have a massive note everywhere until it lands visually, emotionally, and then it becomes part of me because I've practiced it so much. So CTA is going to be my next big sticker on a wall, the fridge, the bathroom, everywhere I go. So I love that. Thanks a lot. This is really good. Thank you for today.
Excellent. I want to check with our audience. Team, has that been helpful for you? Just type CTA there in the comments box if that has been helpful for you. And so that you'd also remember this, to put a call to action in your organic marketing approach. And okay, if that has been helpful as well, go ahead, click on the heart emoji right now. Go ahead, click that. Okay, click the share button if you're finding the topic helpful for you. Go ahead, do that right now, team, so that more people would be able to benefit from this, especially entrepreneurs. Okay, and remember to join us as well in our Exponential Traction Telegram group. So it's a free group. Okay, Cameron, I myself, JL, Annie, and Jerica is also there. Okay, we'll be able to continue the conversation there. Cameron, what are your thoughts around this, brother?
Yeah. No, that's great. And what I want to do really quickly, and this goes the same for all of you guys that are watching here in the audience, right? If you guys are in a similar kind of situation, the one thing I would look at is what we're facing right now is, okay, we have this one thing that we're passionate about, that we want to do, that we want to incorporate into our business, but we see our business as being this kind of separate thing. So how can we find the common ground to connect those two things? So what I want you
Every time the juicy comes, he freezes. I'm like, I'm hanging on to every word and I'm ready.
Yeah, I feel that something golden is gonna come out of this. So, team, if you have any questions right now, go ahead, type that in the comments box. And JL, Annie, let me know if a question is also coming up from your own feeds. Good. Cam, you're back. Okay, welcome back.
I know I'm just popping in and out here all the time. I don't know what it is. It's for some reason, all the other times when I'm live, it haven't seemed to be much of an issue, but for some reason at this time, the internet seems to be kind of all over the place. So the exercise is look at the first thing to identify is, what is the outcome that you're trying to help your clients achieve? Right? This is the most important thing to understand and to really have crystal clarity on, because it's, I played a lot of sports growing up. For any of you guys out there that played sports, imagine whatever sport, right? If it's like a basketball or a soccer, or for me being a Canadian, it's ice hockey, right? Imagine trying to play any of those sports without having a goal, right? Without having a net. It would be impossible. You wouldn't know which direction to go, right? Because you don't have that end goal in mind. So the first thing that you want to do when you're trying to connect these two things is, what is that goal? What's the outcome that we're trying to help our clients achieve, right? Our prospects achieve. And then, so now what we want to do is we want to look at, well, how does this other thing that we're trying to incorporate? So in your case, Annie, right? How does dancing, right? How can that showcase, how does that help people achieve that as well? Or show that people have achieved that? So if, for example, we talk about relationships, right? Being able to, be excited about a relationship as an example, right? That's one of the outcomes I'm sure that you help your clients achieve, is to be excited about the relationship they're in, or excited about the possibilities that they have now. So that's the outcome that we're trying to achieve.
Cam, before you go deeper into this, I like what you're saying right now, and right, okay. And because you're freezing also, so right. I think, you know what, a lot of people already forget the power in movement, and I think that is one thing that I like about what Annie is doing, because it's really a reflection of her own self-confidence, okay, her own groundedness, as well as the joy that's coming from within. Okay, and with regard to, I think, relationships, a lot of people forget that all of that starts with the self, right? So, and I think that's just how it goes with regard to energy. Happy people would like to be with happy people. No one wants to be with miserable people, right? And the way Annie is expressing herself, I see her videos, okay? She's doing it in such a way that it's not really because of what other people think. It's because it is an expression of herself. Am I getting that right, Annie? Right? At least that's how it's landing for me. So, yeah, so go ahead, brother.
Yeah. No, thanks for jumping in there. And and kind of what's exactly what you mentioned, right? Where you're looking at, like, what is you dancing? What is that have to showcase? What does that show your clients, right? Because when we look at it from a perspective of outcomes and value, right, those are kind of the bigger things. And we can find ways to connect things that you wouldn't usually connect, right? But if we look at it from that perspective in terms of what is the outcome, what's the value, what's the emotion? So you mentioned that emotion was one of the big things that you like to focus on. What is the emotion that from dance that you can then incorporate into the same thing when it comes to the relationship side of things, right? So finding that common emotion, right? That's where that's the commonality between those two things.
It's
right? And then
actually
putting the
joy.
Yeah.
Joy is the commonality of everything. Because if we have joy in everything that we do in life, then we are happy. So take joy in everything. Like I'm taking great joy in being here, you know, and learning all of this. I think this is my session today. Looks like it, any session, but I think a lot of people would relate to this. And we have another artist here, you know, JL. So his passion is with his hands, but how does he bring that into this? So for me, this is really great. So some kind of passion, I believe, and that brings them joy. So how can we use that? Because when I'm in joy and when I'm happy, then I can give so much more to others. So I want to make sure that I'm in good state. I got to be in good state. And one of the things that I experienced last year in June is I'm doing lots of videos about relationships. And the last time when it's almost like I hit a wall, well, I did hit a wall. I watched my own video and I was devastated because there was no joy in it. My head was so full of everybody else's voice of how I should do it and how I should market and what I should do and what the algorithm and this and this and this. And I went, I'm done. I'm absolutely done. And I closed shop for 3 months. And I said, I'm going on a spiritual leave. I did. And when I came back dancing. And I'm back in my joy because I needed to connect to me. If I'm not connected to me, how in the world can I help people? Because they already sad, they already in hurt. I don't need to bring my hurt. I need to bring hope. So the word is joy. Even though I got love back there. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So good. Cameron, what sorry, you keep on dropping off. So earlier I was asking you, so what is that limiting belief that we can work in or that we can work out today? And there he goes again.
I'm just giving you a whole pile of limiting beliefs.
Oh.
Yeah. And what I want to do, I want to kind of let's tie it into kind of what we were just talking about, because one of the big things that I think I've seen a lot, for sure, is really looking like being too worried about things like you said, like the algorithms, or being too worried about, what exactly is, the price point, for example. I know that's one that a lot of people worry about when it comes to their programs and products and services. And really, so we talked about like focus on the emotion, right? When we're looking at how to connect these, two different things. But I think that can go take that even further, where one of the beliefs I think for a lot of people that they struggle with is really taking a step back and just focusing on the value. Like what is the value, right? Stop focusing on a lot of the little things, right? Again, like just some of the ones we talked about today, right? Being the algorithm, being like, kind of what am I posting for? I think, Annie just listed off like 3 or 4 or 5 that she was kind of worried about, right? And to not think so much about those things and just to really put the focus on the value, right? The result, the outcome. So I think by being able to put yourself in that mind state, by being able to really put the focus on that, it's going to resonate across a lot of the things you do, including your marketing, including your content, like you mentioned, Annie, right? So that's the thing that I think in terms of, for those of you that are listening into this, right, you really want to put the focus and just, take a step back, take it like, and you took a couple weeks to kind of step back and to really analyze why you're doing what you're doing. I'm going to urge you guys that are watching this, right, to take a moment and just really think about the value, right? What is the result, the outcome that you're helping your clients, your prospects with, and really put everything that you do, from your content to your offer to everything, right, to your branding, right? You want to really focus everything around that value. And that's going to help. Again, there's so many benefits from there. But that's really going to help when it comes to, right, the topic we're talking about today is how to do well with organic marketing. It's going to help you in so many areas just by being able to focus and have that clear goal, have that clear outcome that you're striving towards. So I urge everyone here that's watching this, right, and right, let me know if you guys are going to do this in the comments. Right, I urge you guys to take a moment and just really reflect on what is the value that you're providing your audience. What's the value you're providing your prospects? So
Nice.
I want to leave you guys with that.
One of the things also that's coming up for me, Cam, is that even if you're putting in a lot of value, I don't know if you guys have experienced this as well, but people consume your free content, right? And then after that, what happens is that they tend to unsubscribe and so on and follow and the like. And I feel that, a lot of entrepreneurs get disheartened by this. Okay? So what are your thoughts around that? That, it's sometimes I notice that after coaching thousands of people, this is what they start to say. Mac, you want me to do marketing, you want me to do Facebook Live, but what if no one would watch? So you see that even if there's no direct criticism around it, the feeling of like no one's watching is already getting in the way to begin with, because they find that as a self-criticism. So what are your thoughts around this? Okay, of course it brings about a negative emotion, and it keeps them from going forward. So yeah, let's go to you, Cam. Let's go to Annie and then
Yeah, I say I want to jump in on this because this is actually a fun one that I've actually. So a lot of people, and it's really going to come down to. I'll give you a preview of what the answer is. It really comes down to your perspective. So for me, I actually had this experience. I actually felt it whenever I was going through it. Was one of the first things I did whenever I was first starting out was really put together a summit. Right, I got a bunch of speakers and right to talk about a certain subject, and right, I was interviewing them, and I'd done a couple like intro and outro to the whole event and stuff like that, and we're streaming these live. And I don't know if it was at one point we had like some technical difficulties, and or there just wasn't a lot of people there. I didn't know a lot about marketing that I do now. And one of the things was, I just remember the feeling of, at one point I was like, you know what? Nobody's watching. So like, who cares, right? If I screw it up, right? Who cares if it doesn't sound good? Nobody's watching anyway. So I looked at it as a good thing. I was like, you know what? Doesn't matter if I mess it up. No one's watching. No one's going to judge me. It's cool. But a funny thing happens whenever you change the perspective like that. Funny thing happens is that when most people are nervous, right? Whenever they mess up, when they think they don't do well, when they judge themselves, it's because they're putting pressure on themselves to perform, to do an amazing video, to provide an amazing amount of value. Whenever you flip that switch of like, you know what, no one's watching, what happens is that pressure that you've placed on yourself just releases. And then guess what happens? You actually present a hell of a lot better because you've now removed that pressure you've made on yourself. Because pressure is what causes people to trip up, causes people to lose confidence, causes people to do all of these negative things and they're getting nervous trying to avoid them, but that's what actually causes them. So I've actually used the trick of pretending nobody's watching, even if people are watching, pretending no one's watching, because then that takes the pressure off, and then you actually perform better doing it. So that's one way. Again, I just wanted to share that because that's something that that happened 4 or 5 years ago, something like that, and I'm still remembering kind of that happening.
That's an interesting perspective. Okay, I want to go to Annie. Annie, what are your thoughts around this?
Oh, I actually like it. It's getting out of your head and doing what you really actually love doing. There's always going to be that one person who doesn't like it. So as long as we accept that, So we don't always have to look at what works. We also need to look at, well, something might not work. Okay, what are you going to do about it after? You know. So with just to go back to my dancing, I have a video on TikTok. It has 125,000 views, and it has something like 600 comments. I have no idea why. Now all the rest, they're sitting around the 200 mark. So that's not bad, right? And then the ones that have a great message in them get 40. And I go, why? And they are the ones that are about relationships. And I just think, okay, but why? Because there's a lot of people on TikTok that follow relationship coaches. So then I go, I need to look at this a little bit more, and I need to figure it out, which I will, because I won't stop until I figure it out. But if I don't get it, I move on to the next one. Okay, keep creating, keep doing, because there's no point worrying why, because nobody's going to tell me why. You know, billions of people are on TikTok. You think that anybody's going to tell me why they didn't like that one and why they like that one? So I just keep doing it until perhaps I figure out the formula, or they just start liking my style. So I do everything in my power not to stay limited.
I like that. Getting out of your own head and just doing what you're supposed to do, right? Very nice.
I do like that. I've never said that before, but I really like that.
Good. JL, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I actually wanted to share something relating to organic marketing and in terms of resonance. Right? Like what happens with my Instagram profile, that there are a lot of drawings where I spend hours on, right? Like 1 hour, 2 hours. But I was surprised that the one that I made the least amount of effort with got the most likes. And I noticed there's a resonance there. There are two types of people who resonate with me: artists, and also cartoonists. And because that particular drawing, I was concentrating on characterization, which is like exaggeration of features and all that. And those are the people who resonate with me, and also people who've gone through depression. So I've talked about it in the past, and there's something I don't think they can explain it to me either, why they resonate so much with my work, because maybe I express something when I'm not thinking about it, something that's of me being embodied into that piece of work. So I think that is the thing that happens with what Cameron said. When I switch my brain off, that is when I do things that are more consistent with myself, and therefore my values, and therefore my brand, even if I have not defined it yet. Although there's a caveat, we should be able to define what that branding is, right? So that it can be, you can kind of drive the clarity with the branding, the marketing, and therefore the organic reach in the end.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my take on this as well. Thank you, JL. That's really nice. Good. And here's my take around this. Okay. And this is for anybody and everybody whose focus is really on adding value to the world. Okay. Now in our mailing list we have about 10,000 subscribers, right? And then I receive about let's say 10 people messaging that, yeah, I really didn't like that and so on, take me out from the subscribers list. But there's a reason why they're in the list to begin with, because at one point or another they were able to benefit from the free webinars, the seminars, the things that we're conducting, and the value that we are giving out at one point. Now they're saying about, let's say 10, okay, unsubscribe me. Okay, let's make it more worse. How many of you have ever experienced where you put something out there in your Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and then you receive a nasty message? Have you ever encountered that, right? And then that kind of feel like, ah, man, right?
Some
So
are weird.
yeah. And then here's my message to everybody who's experienced that. You know what? That's okay, because those people who just keep on consuming your free stuff, those people who have nasty words and criticisms to give to begin with, they are not your customers. They're not gonna buy anything from you to begin with, and that's okay, because by doing so, it actually allows you to filter the audience. Therefore, it allows you to pivot. It allows you to make yourself much closer to the people that are willing to be helped and are finding resonance with you. Okay? So, not to make it personal about you. As what Annie said, keep on adding value to the world, and the customers will come. Yes, Annie?
You know what's really interesting is when you gain people's love, and trust and following. And even if they're never ever going to buy from you, but they do refer people. I've had all my business so far has been from referral, and the trust has already been built from what people have seen of me over the years. But I tell you one thing, when you have a following like that and someone attacks you personally, you actually don't have to do anything, because everybody jumps on them and they go ballistic, right? And it's so great when you see that. And like, I tend to sit there and think, okay, how am I going to respond to this? Because this, of course it pisses me off. I don't need to do anything. That's one. So that's really great to notice that. And the second thing is when you start getting the hate mail, you're doing a good thing, because you're actually starting to trigger people. So what you're saying is triggering people, and they don't want to hear it, because they go, oh, because otherwise they wouldn't say something nasty if you didn't trigger something in them, right? And that, to me, that is one of the first signs of success, when you start getting those people. No, you're wrong. Okay, how so? Right? And it's great. So and I heard this many years ago from Blair. He said, the moment you start getting the hate mail, you're actually on the right track. So I don't take it to offense. I might be pissed off here and I'm going, but I just do not. It's very rare that I go back. But even then, I'm very careful how I write, yeah.
You know what I've experienced as well is that those people who are more successful than me, they don't do me hate mails or anything like that. I don't know. I don't know about you guys. I've never experienced that. But those people who are actually more successful than me, I've never received those kinds of criticisms. In fact, they're the ones who are the first one who say that, Mac, you're doing really great and so on. Keep adding value. Okay, and you know what? So on one hand, I've received those kinds of hate comments, right? Okay, but on the other hand, I've also received a message. Okay, and this is what a coachee said. Okay, one of our students. Okay, good morning, coach. Up to my dreams. I've dreamt about you. You've been very supportive. I actually miss you. So you see that? So on one hand, again, you're not for everybody. We're not for everybody. And there are those people who just don't resonate. And that's okay. Yes, Cameron.
I was gonna say it's funny that you mentioned that, because I just saw some content from one of the guys that I follow literally today about that. Like whenever people see, you see these hate messages, you see this negative stuff. That's essentially the way you said it. Was like you said, people who are ahead of you or who are at that next level, they aren't even right. They're not going to do that, or they aren't even thinking about like what you're doing, right? And so when you receive that, you can take that as an acknowledgement that, like Annie said, that you've actually done well and you're kind of ahead of that person where their mindset is at currently, right? So it's just funny you mentioned that, because I was literally just watching that today. And the other way I want to look at it real quickly is, because I've been in direct sales, so I was that annoying person at a shopping center getting people to sign up for charities, right? So we met all kinds of people doing that. And the one way I kind of really looked at it, right? I've been called like, an asshole before. I've been told to go get a real job and been told like why, like I've been called some nasty things, like in person as well. And this isn't just some random troll on. This is literally like in person. People were telling me this. And I remember one lady in particular who was just like, I was just friendly, like hi and wave, and she just said, "You're an asshole." And the one thing is I didn't laugh, but in my the way I look at it, right? And it comes from a place of, like empathy and sympathy. I'm like, I just think of it as like, okay, this person is for no apparent reason, right? Is just like bashing you, right? Whether it's online, in person, however that comes about. And just at the end of the day, I'm like, the way I thought of it is like, that person must be having a really shitty day, or they must something must be going on, right? So I just really look at it as like, what, something's obviously not okay with this person. I feel bad. I feel empathy. Hopefully they get better. But just knowing, like putting it from that perspective, it's like why would I take something like that to heart? There's something going on. I don't know what their story is. And so ultimately, right, that's how I kind of detach myself from. I'm not going to be offended by somebody saying that to me because I know that their job's not in a good place, right? So right, I feel bad for them. Hopefully, it gets better. But I'm not going to take that personally because I just know they're just right. Someone they just had a bad morning, right? They woke up on the wrong side of the bed. However you want to put it, and that's one way that I kind of look at how to address whenever I get something negative like that as well.
Very nice. Wow, this has been an interesting morning. Okay, or night time for you, Cam. Afternoon for you,
Yeah.
Annie. Okay, we're reaching the top of the hour. So what's your final message around this? Okay, about what we've been talking about. Ladies first. Let me go to Annie, and then JL, then back to you, Cam, and then we're gonna close this up. Annie.
I based on everything we talked about today, and thank you everybody for helping me out with my limiting beliefs, is what comes out of all of this is to stay true to who you are. Don't listen to the outside too much. Listen to the inside because your intuition knows, and stay true to yourself. And those that resonate will come along. That's what I get out of it. And then you listen to the outside, but you listen to those that you feel are there that really want you to win. And I know that everybody here is there to help me win, and vice versa. So that's what I allow in. I've learned to block those that don't. So stay true to yourself, and yep, that's it. And definitely join the Exponential Attraction group.
Thank you, Annie.
JL?
JL.
Yeah, thank you. And it's being true, like what Annie said, being authentic and doing what works for yourself, not just in how we work, but also what will resonate with the people who will come to me. Like, who do I resonate with? And to know that, I have to really be true to myself and true to what I want to put out there. And also to take care of mental health. Like what Cameron mentioned about the negative responses. It's one thing to get negative responses from people, but there's also another issue about the platforms letting you down. Like on YouTube, I'm not sure if you've heard of Jenna Marbles. So Jenna Marbles, she's like, if you ever gone deep into internet culture, she's like the pillar of vloggers. She's been there since Gen Z was there, ever since I was a teenager also. And last year, she just decided to not be on any platform ever. And this is also the start of what's called the adpocalypse in YouTube, where creators are getting demonetized for no reason. And so it took a toll on many creators' mental health. So one of the big lessons from there is we really got to take care of our mental health as well when we're doing this, and also to really be sure in ourselves and who we are. And that's my message for today.
Thanks, JL. Let me go to Cameron.
Awesome, guys. So I think the message I want to leave you guys with, and that's going to really be based around kind of getting back to basics, right? There's something that I preach on time and time again is keeping things simple, because simplicity is going to help you make progress in whatever area of life that you're trying to keep progress in, right? So there's a lot of things we can focus on. We can choose to focus on the negatives. We can choose to focus on the positive. We can choose to focus on, right, all the things that are happening on different platforms, right? There's a lot of things we can put our time and attention and focus and energy into. But ultimately, what I want to leave you guys with is to really focus on the basics, right? One of the quotes that I heard recently is an expert isn't somebody who does something that is magnificent that no one else can do, right? A true professional or a true expert is somebody who executes the fundamentals better than anybody else, right? So don't try to be so focused on all the fancy things or all these other little things we can focus on. Focus on executing on the fundamentals really well, and that's going to help you make progress in whatever area of your life you guys are looking to improve in. What would you, Mr. Mack?
All right, thanks, man. That is so powerful, and I truly appreciate all of you for being here. Everyone who's watching us live right now, go ahead, click on the link. We are posting that over in the comments box on the feed so that you can join the Exponential Attraction group. over in Telegram. It's a free group so that we can interact much better. Okay, so I'm gonna end this with another story. So so we've been doing our SMS marketing, and I received a message, or my staff received a message with the F word. Okay, for no apparent reason, we're giving out value, and then a person just responded with an FU. Okay, and that shook my staff. Okay, so you know what I did? I responded and I told him that, you know what, you don't have to be rude. If you don't like it, just unsubscribe. Okay, if you don't like any more of our free programs, just unsubscribe. No need to be rude. Okay, and this is Mac Comandante. I placed my name there. And you know what happened? That guy actually responded, Mac, I'm so sorry about this, and so on and so forth. I thought it was just spam, and so on and so forth, right? So what is the lesson there? What I've come to realize is that, again, team, if you're an entrepreneur who's been really trying to go for, more sales, better progress, especially this month, most likely you had to pivot a lot of times. Okay, I don't know with you, but for me, all of our strategy plans when we started the year, okay, we had to throw that out the window because it just didn't work this January because, the consumer behavior changed. Okay, and it's been crazy. Everyone is trying to have a grasp of this. So first and foremost, just be kind to yourself. Okay, take care of yourself, take care of your emotional health, your mental health, and so on. And more importantly, be with the right community, because you don't need all of this negativity, right? And that's the intention of what we're doing here with Exponential Traction. Be in the group. Okay, you may have all the criticisms out there. When you talk about marketing, when you talk about being an entrepreneur, this is a leadership role. It's about you putting yourself in front, and you volunteered for this role in the first place. So thereby, whether you do something or you don't do anything, you'll be criticized anyway. So that is why during this time, now is not the time to quit. Now is the time to double down. Double down on your marketing efforts so that you can reach more people, because more people need help. Okay, those people who will find resonance with you, they're going to come. Okay, and then they're going to buy the services or the products that you are actually selling. All right, so that's me for today. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cam. Thank you, Annie. Thank you, JL. That's it for Exponential Traction. Have a good day.
Have a great weekend. See you next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
You gotta stop live from your end, Cam. You have the controls.